Welcome to episode 10 of We Have Issues. We made it to 10. I'm
We made
Anthony.
it to 10.
Made it to
I
10.
interrupted you. It's part of
You know what? This is episode 10 is where I'm putting my foot down, Steven. I'm just going to take off my glove and slap you with it. I challenge you to a duel to never interrupt me again. I'm kidding.
It's going to happen all the way up until the 50th anniversary.
It better, Steven.
Oh, man.
So, I'm Anthony.
I'm Steven, the interrupter.
The interrupter.
Among other titles.
Relationship expert, ostrich guru.
Yeah.
Artist extraordinaire, really.
I was trying to think of a title for peeing in someone else's bed and then blaming them for it, but I can't think of like a small amount of words to make it a title.
Renaissance man works. I'm pretty sure.
Side note, my sick deer hunter shirt came in.
Very cool.
It's very awesome. They did a live stream show back in October, and I pre-ordered, and I got the digital ticket, and then I got the t-shirt also.
Very cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little sad about the fact that we missed the Coheed and Cambria show. So
it would have been this. Yeah, it would have been last month, dude. Yeah. No World for Tomorrow, Never Ender, which I don't think we're gonna get now. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite albums. I was really excited for it for so many crowd moments. That's why I was so excited for it, and it'll probably never happen. I want to imagine, I'd like to imagine that at some point we'll get back there. It feels at the moment like it'll never happen, but who knows, right?
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
That would have been great. But anyway,
this has become a Coheed and Deer Hunter podcast.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, to be fair, they make musical albums, like they make like narrative based albums, Deer Hunter, and then Coheed has their entire catalog is just a giant story, so they have a concept album, which and what we're doing basically is making a concept album, but we're starting with the concept. We're starting with the art and
we're going the opposite direction basically.
Yeah. So how did you do this week?
I pulled a U, basically.
So failing is an Anthony now.
That's the term we use in my blog. But no, I mean I didn't do horrible, but I definitely didn't finish the page. I was able to get like some whites and some shades on page 3. Okay. So I wasn't a complete loss. I did like any time I could squeeze out. I spent my mornings drinking coffee, playing around on Photoshop. So I still did
coffee
that.
Like this coffee.
This coffee.
If we have no art to put up, we might as well show the people what they want, which is this coffee.
I'll send you a picture so you can put it up there.
I'm just gonna poorly Photoshop just Folgers. Right?
Can we do that though? I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
I don't know if we're allowed. As long as it's not music, I don't know. We're fine as long as it's kind of funny. I don't know. But so you failed. Okay. But did you? But you say you made some progress, right?
I made like coloring progress. I didn't really start a new page.
Sounds like you're lying. It sounds like you did nothing, Stephen.
No, I sent you. I mean, like you. I sent you. I sent you like the ink thing I did. It was whatever. But if you look carefully, there's a lot of white texture.
I'm kidding with you. I love it. I really love it all. So this is what Steven's actually done. He edits coffee into the scene. So, I still again struggled this week with what I was writing, but I got through it. I did finish it. I don't know if you probably didn't get a chance to read it because you were super busy today, right?
Yeah, I was doing that. Yeah, I'll send you those pictures too. We can show those if we want. But
oh yeah, cool. This is what Steven spent his time doing, which is insane. It's very manly. I have no idea what it's...
My uncle and my dad came over and helped, but mostly my dad and I, and so yeah, it's just remodeling a shower. Like we had one of those plastic showers in there, like prefab showers. So we're retiling it. So yeah, I'll send you all the progress pics. You can post them in the podcast because we have issues being good husbands. Basically, is what the issue is this week. So
yeah, rub it in, Steven. So. But for me, it was just like it was a weird week altogether. And the chapter we were working on, like chapter I'm writing this week, just I'm going back and forth because I had to have this whole conversation about something specific, which was like silly and pop culture based, but it has like major allusions to my relationship in a weird roundabout way that
Mhm.
I don't, but I'm personally fighting it because I'm like, I'm not sure if the readers are going to get that, but I also never want to underestimate readers. I want to just be like, as long as it's an entertaining conversation, some people are going to understand the illusion and some people might not, you know, but
Mhm.
it's still a moment that we're living. And I think it'll be interesting. Like, I want you to read it so you can tell me what you think.
For sure, I will.
Especially,
And I also think though that readers will just come up with stuff that are even better than what we thought of
yeah.
originally, and we're just gonna go right along with it. Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
exactly.
All of that little subtext that you pick up on panel through panel by panel, like intentional.
I feel like Stephen was really trying to encapsulate the anger that he felt in page one, and next to page 22.
I feel
That's
like what we're
exactly what I was
really going
going.
to see from your art, I feel like what we're going to see from your art is how much you hate me through the process. I think it's going to be like, my character's slowly going to look a little less attractive. It's just going to look like, and eventually it's just going to be Fazimoto. Like, it's just.
It's literally just you going me, just you in every panel. So
It's
far,
the worst.
So far, except for the first page, it's a splash, but you've been in every panel so far.
Oh, Steven, it's the weirdest thing for me. I think that's part of it. Like I'm finally, since I'm coming close to the end of the actual pages of I have one chapter to go, and once I'm done with that, I'm finished with the pages, and I just have to write some narration that I'm looking forward to writing. But I'm finally coming to the point where I'm like, oh gosh, this is a lot about me, where I'm starting to like, those insecurities are spiraling, where I'm like, I don't know if I should say this, but then it's like, I'm gonna do it. That's what we're doing here, right? I'm just like airing our dirty laundry / look at our clean laundry.
I mean, some of the stories I've told on this podcast, I've literally only told close family and friends, so you are all very, very welcome.
Yeah, it's okay. Speaking of that, it was interesting because I had a situation today, not a real situation. My feelings were hurt today, Steven. Just a little.
Just hurt you. I hope he was a vampire so we could take him out.
Here's the thing, Steven. I don't have a butt, okay? I have no butt. I never have. I've never had one of these things. I've seen them. I like them. I wish I had more. I don't. I have no butt, Steven. I get uncomfortable pretty quickly. I also get cold. I'm skinny. I don't know. But I went out to eat with a friend, and I bent over to like put a mask on Atlas, and my friend, she was like, "You didn't do some squats." I was like, "That's not fair. It's not fair. You can't do this." First of all, I don't think about my butt. Like, it just doesn't occur to me. It doesn't occur to me that I have a Hank Hill situation going on. Like, it doesn't. I'm just like, it's fine. I never have to see it. As far as I'm concerned, it's none of my business. But the thing is, I mean, like, their female versions of their anacondas don't want none unless I got buns on. Like, it's a real thing that I should be considering, Steven. So so my thought is,
you don't like an oversized anaconda, no? Because
I don't. But so, and I guess in their case it would be their arms are their anacondas, right? Because their talent, their fangs are gripping onto there's nothing there, and so
I think what's really funny about you having butt issues is Tina literally makes fun of me to my back while I'm standing somewhere about how small my butt is in comparison to the rest of my 6'3/4" stature body.
I kind of like that we're in this together, Steven, because for a second I thought you were going to go the other way and brag about it.
Dude, have you seen the Todd butt is not a butt. It's just non-existent.
Okay.
All of us suffer the curse.
So my plan is, now I have no intention of ever not ever. I have no intention of right now being like, this is what my butt looks like. However, I am going to say that I'm going to try to do this stupid workout routine and see if there are any results. That's my plan. So part of my month, I'm not going to this isn't part of my permanent life. I honestly don't care that much. But she hurt my feelings enough that I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's see if I can just do this. And if it is simple and I can make a difference, fine. Okay, I'll feed your dumb anacondas. I'm sorry. Your iacondas. No, but dude, so yeah. So I realized today I have no butt. I felt a little insecure about it. Steven, do you have any? I know like we both have the insecurity thing and you comment on my looks a lot. So, like, do you have like, what do you think about yourself? Do you think that you judge yourself physically the same way that other people do slash Tina would?
Tina goes too far, but then Tina's like into like Seth Rogen and like Jason Segel. Those are the guys in Hollywood that she's
Yeah.
attracted to. So I don't really trust her opinion. But no, I've always had a very bad, no confidence whatsoever. So yeah, no, I have that issue big time.
Yeah.
I don't really look at myself in the mirror and think, oh, he looks, nothing like that. Like, no, I'm definitely, I'm definitely just very judgmental of myself for sure.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's funny because, like, okay, like, obviously Tina loves you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you're probably the smartest person I know. So I know that you know that it's subjective. Like, obviously, if she likes you, she's attracted to you. That means other people probably also think you're similarly attractive, right? I mean, like, it's just a taste of a certain person, you know. But I think it's weird because I'm like, similarly, I don't see that in myself either. You know what I mean? Like when I look at myself, I see like someone who's like, I basically see myself at 12. You know, like I see like just like hair always looks stupid. Like I always feel like my everything's wrong. I notice all my pimples before anyone else, just like everyone else, you know? So it's just like all of those insecurities are just always just kind of floating around, just like treading the water in my dumb brain, you know? So when someone says something like, you know, or compliments me in some way, my immediate response is just like, you're dumb, shut up. You know, like,
dude, even to Tina, like she will like sit there and just like compliment me up, and that's another thing I can't do is take a compliment. Like, you're better off just like critiquing my work and then like giving me like a compliment sandwich than you are like directly complimenting me, because I have a hard time. I don't know. I just have a hard time taking the compliment and like returning the thank you. Like, I'm just like, you're a liar.
For me, yeah, yeah. Well, for me, I've conditioned myself to basically just respond with thank you. You know, just one of those like kind of a timid, like even through text, it's just like, thank you, thanks for being kind. I don't. Do I also
I don't know how to handle this?
I don't know how to handle this situation. I feel like you put us in this weird situation by saying nice things, and it's on you now. You know, like I feel like you're a villain.
Remind me how much I suck as a person, and I'm all about that. I will apologize up and down for my poor behavior as a human being, but God forbid if you remind me how great I am. I can't stand that.
Crazy. And you know, just that sort of dynamic in general, I'm really bad with. I'm also really bad. I'm bad with tone. I'm bad with reading things on the internet. I can't tell when people hate me on the internet. The other day, okay, so like a couple of days ago on Twitter, I posted. I was feeling this thing that we're talking about, where I was just like feeling down on myself for some reason. I don't know. I was just feeling like some insecurity, and I was just like thinking about it. I was like, okay, was it because I was kind of like people would say dumb things to me in middle school or whatever, you know, like, was it because I was picked on? Like, what was it? Like, you know, so I was thinking about like bullies and if it did have some lingering effect or whatever, you know. Mostly I felt like it didn't, because most of the things that people would make fun of are things that I like about myself, where it's like, yeah, I do like comic books. I am kind of nerdy. I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Okay. You know, but you know, as far as like the skinny things and like coming up with like names for that, you know, names for me based on like, or calling me crackhead or whatever, because I was skinny when I was young, you know, even skinnier, of course, when I was younger. So I was thinking about that, and I posted on Twitter just asking like, hey, were you picked on as a kid, you know? And like, was it something generic, or were people really mean? And most people were just like communicating, connecting, and just being like, yeah, you know, we all have gone through this, you know, this is what people call me, this is how it hurt, this is how it affected me. So I spent the day going around with Atlas, and we had a great day. I was off work, and we just like spent the day doing things. I didn't look at my phone very much. So I eventually looked at my phone. I saw I had all these messages from all, or like, you know, just comments from all these people. And it was really cool to see all these people kind of bonding over their mutual hatred for the bullies that they had to deal with throughout their lives. However, there was one comment that was immediately accusatory and suggesting that it was weird that I asked people for personal information and then just didn't comment and didn't respond to them. And I was just like, I don't know how to handle that. I didn't know how to handle that situation, because I was like, I don't even know what you think my plan was. You know, like I can't, like I'm not sociopathic enough to like even understand what you think I might have been trying to do. You know, like, was it like, okay, did they think I'm trying to arm myself with things that upset people as children? Like, is it like, haha, now I'm gonna call people blah blah blah? Like,
And then you just load this gun up of like magic bullets for every single person you know. Just
yeah, is that what they think I'm doing? Like, okay,
I mean,
okay, first of all, it sounds like a super. It's not a bad idea. It's a terrible thing to do that I'd obviously never do is the thing. Like, and I feel like I think it upsets me when even okay, a lot of the my behavior in general and like stupid jokes and stuff that I will make. I feel like I can make dumb jokes like what we just said, like, you know, being the supervillain who would do that because you know I would never do that, right? Like that's what makes it funny is that like there's that like the separation from reality where it's okay because it's so absurd that I would do that. You know, that's what makes it funny. But when someone's like, that's actually possible for you, and I'm like, oh, you know nothing of my work, you know, and I start feeling offended, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling, but I don't know how to handle it. So I'm just like, you're wrong anyway. But thankfully,
it's funny that you mentioned that though, because like I actually had it's been a long time since this happened to me, but when I had my pizzas, I mean, we're talking over a decade ago now. But when I was like delivering pizzas and stuff, there was this guy I worked with from Boston. He was such a funny dude, like saying "wicked" and all that good stuff. But I just love the accent. It's funny. But I remember that was around the time. Do you remember this era where we were like very self-congratulatory? We'd always call ourselves awesome and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'm awesome. Like,
yeah, of course.
I almost think it's because we were probably watching How I Met Your Mother and we were imitating Barney Stinson. But it was like a joke to me because I have such low self-esteem that saying I'm awesome is actually me basically like, no, you're actually not. But you keep saying that, kid.
Yeah.
He took it as like
arrogance.
Yeah, do you guys just walk around thinking how great you are, blah 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 blah? And I'm like, well, no, you don't get it. It's like I'm awesome. Like we basically did the joke, but yeah, like no, I had to like explain to this guy that like no, like I don't actually think I'm awesome. This is me basically projecting my insecurity onto the world. So
yeah,
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Because I'm
now
awesome.
I feel awesome. But yeah, that kind of thing is so interesting. Just the idea that like within ourselves, we have these inside jokes, like this language that we cultivate, you know, curate throughout time. And it's okay for us to make these silly jokes and stuff. But when someone outside of that bubble peers in and they don't know us at all, and they make that sort of a weird assumption, or just like that's the inference they make, you know, even though like we're not, like you weren't actually, obviously you're not, you know, you weren't like walking around being self-congratulatory and being a, you know, arrogant person. But on the outside, like objectively, if someone's like, I'm awesome, and you don't know them, you're like maybe they're a jerk. I don't know. Why would they do that? You know? So it's so strange with the internet, because if you exist the way I only know how on the internet, which is just to kind of be myself all the time, if people are just kind of like driving by, they just see that glimpse through the window, and it's like, you know, they want to define an entire person by that, you know, just half a second of, you know, just speeding by, which is
kind of what I do so that I don't have that issue with people. It's cathartic. Is that the word? Yeah, I think so. If I see something, a post or just something I don't agree with, I type out the whole comment, and then instead of pressing send, I delete it. It's like my brain gets the satisfaction of vomiting all of my thought, and I'm like, and now I don't have to suffer any of the consequences of my opinion. It's gone. You know, I got it out. I'm not starting anything with anyone, because I'm just not the type of person to even want to like quarrel with someone. You know, I'm not biting my thumb at anyone. Okay, like I'm doing the opposite.
I'm offering you my thumb. I don't know. You can have it.
It was something. Listen, I was eating chips. I got some of it out of my tooth. It was still in my nail. I wasn't trying to. I swear, sir. But like, yeah, no. Like, I am not trying to like start arguments over the internet with anyone. So like, yeah. So like, I don't really understand the people that like find the need to basically like
antagonize and instigate.
I don't understand like who gets a rise out of that. But then again, everyone was raised different.
Well, what I thought was
I don't know.
Yeah, what I thought was exceptionally strange was I just very simply said, hey, I'm sorry, I tried to answer a few people, but I've been busy with my son all day. And they were like, incredulous. They were like, that would be nice to believe, but yeah, and that, you know, like, okay, it was so strange that another person who I'm a mutual follower with commented and like coming to my defense and was just saying like, I've seen his comments and he's fine. I don't know, you know, what you're talking about. So it was just bizarre. Thankfully, that person eventually apologized. Kind of. It was just kind of one of those, hey, I'm glad you're with your son, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you're having a good day.
It was weird. It was. I don't know. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at like knowing how to handle that. I did the thing that you just said you did. I literally did to that person. And I was very, very thankful that I didn't send the thing, because eventually they came around and understood what I was actually doing, which was just spending a day with my son and not hovering on my phone the entire time, you know? So you know, the nature of of social media is that you don't know what's going to blow up, you know, not really, not me, at least. I don't know. Some people know that.
It's not even like it was for that. Like, you don't even know, like, yeah, you were just basically writing a thought out into the world just to get maybe someone to respond or someone to say something, and,
like,
and
really
something that you can maybe talk to or pick at later, you know, just something for you to do later. Like, you
exactly, that's exactly what it is. After my son goes to bed, I will thumb through Twitter and I'll respond to everyone I can, or, you know, everyone I feel some sort of connection with, I respond to. I like build these relationships. I'm trying. I think, like, I feel like I have actual friends on Twitter, which is interesting because I've never really been like, you play WoW, so I'm sure you've had a lot of those throughout the years of, you know, like the camaraderie.
Which, by the way, shout out to NT from Battle.net. He totally subscribed and everything because I had broadcasted on WoW.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you, NT. Awesome. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, I don't know where he's from.
He's from Australia, actually, which is really cool. So share it. Share it in
Blue?
your countries.
Yeah, cool.
Well, here's the thing. I play with a lot of Australian players because of the time of day I play.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dad, so I play World of Warcraft at 5 a.m. So most American people are either up from the night before playing WoW still, or I'm playing with Australian people because it's usually around 8 or 9 o'clock their time, which is prime time for WoW. So yeah, most of the people I play with are Australians. It's really funny.
Before we go, I have something that I want to ask you, but we have a couple of questions that came from the internet. Would you mind answering just a couple of quick things?
Not at all. That's awesome. I didn't know we had questions.
That's cool. Well, one of our favorite people, Trish, one of our favorite listeners, Trish the Dish. No one called it that.
Yeah, it's a Kevin Smith joke. Continue.
But one of our favorite listeners, Trish, she wanted us to remind listeners what comics inspired us to want to make our own graphic novel, because it's been 10 episodes, and I don't know if everyone's listening to every single one. So
there's definitely, like, episode 1 still gets a hit every now and then it's like, let's jump across all these ones and then go up to 7, 8 or whatever, which I don't blame them. I would do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, our last podcast got, like, it's up to 200 in like 3 days.
Which is crazy. I don't know what happened.
It's over 200 in 3 days. I have no idea. I can't account for it whatsoever.
We love it. Keep it up.
Thank you so much for listening and subscribing. So what comic books made you want to do this in general?
So I discussed it before, and like even today, you can even vouch for me. Even today, I sent you screenshots of his pencils, but like the Uncanny X-Force from, like, I think it was like 2010. I think it was the run. The artwork in that is just so amazing. The story, Rick Remender wrote the story, and it's just a very solid piece. And then the between Anthony and I, that's basically, like, majority of my reading comes from Marvel. Like, I did read, I've read some indies. I've read, like, Why the Last Man. I've read the Amory Wars from Coheed, of course. But like a majority of my, like, comic, like, love comes from, like, Cable Deadpool, the Joe Kelly Deadpool run. Let's see, a lot of people gave the Daniel Way Deadpool run a lot of hate, but I actually loved it. A lot of people didn't like the whole schizophrenia thing that they added. There was a lot of grief, like, at least coming from, like, the Deadpool fan base, like the 90s Joe Kelly, because he was a different character in the 90s. He was more like, he was almost more Deathstrokey, basically. He was a little bit more serious. He was still funny, but yeah, a lot of Deadpool, a lot of X-Men. Yeah, a lot of X-Men, because I mean, but then you and I both read the New Avengers too. The New event when like Wolverine and Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
The Purple Man, like that Purple Man sequence in the first like arc
that was
of New Avengers
so fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love to revisit that stuff. Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that, of course. But that stuff, it definitely inspired your art, and it shows in the best way. I think your style is really evolving though. Like I don't think I don't think the average person would look at it and be like, oh, he's clearly copying this or anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, what comics did you love growing up?
Gosh. So the comics that inspired me the most to write comics were definitely Madman, and Scud.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Tick to a slightly lesser extent. Just like the jokey nature of that has always been a lot of fun for me. But Madman has always been like probably my biggest inspiration as far as writing comics, just because I think Mike Allred juggles the like sincere and silly tone really well. You know, like you have a character who is clearly going through a pretty in-depth existential crisis throughout most of the books. Also, like struggling with physical issues, identity issues, struggling with like love and like feeling insecure, but also literally being like this ridiculous fun character who fights with a yo-yo and a disc gun, you know, like who eats eyeballs and can see the future to an extent, you know, like all kinds of stuff. It's so much fun. Like it's the kind of book where you can have a character really explore really explore themselves and like different ideas, like philosophical ideas and like religion and such, but also have robots. You know, like also have robots and monsters and like giant brains, and like it's so fun, and like mutant beatniks. It's so ridiculous. So yeah, so that idea, and then like Scud is very similarly toned, where I mean it's a little more a little more off the wall to an extent, but it's the idea of this robot who basically is an assassin who once he kills his target, he'll self-destruct, but he realizes that, which then throws him into this existential crisis where he realizes that he has to keep his target alive. So now he's paying for life support for the creature that he was supposed to have murdered. And it's just, he goes through this whole ridiculous journey, also looking for love, but becoming a werewolf and all sorts of stuff. It's so much fun.
I've seen the like werewolf arm pictures of God. So.
Dude, it's so much fun. Like, it's such a great comic. Rob Schraub is amazing. So. Okay, Paige asked, do you have names prepared for all the ostriches that you're gonna get? You gotta plan ahead after all.
Let's see. Definitely have to name one Overdrive Ostrich for the Mega Man X2 nod, because there was actually a Maverick named Overdrive Ostrich.
Nice.
Which, if you didn't know, the Mavericks were the Reploids that basically became evil after Sigma came. Anyways, but like, so yeah, definitely Overdrive.
Mega Man podcast.
Overdrive Ostrich for sure. Which that's just like such like a mouthful of a name, but I can just imagine me yelling it on the battlefield.
You call him Odie, right?
Odie. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You just call him Overdrive Ostrich. Odie. It's called Odie. Now that has to happen. I just want Odie the Ostrich so bad, and if he's not our mascot, I quit. That's.
And now I've recently met and befriended a man named Craig, and he's really awesome.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Get rid of him.
The running joke our entire life,
our entire friendship, you can't do this to us.
I know. I mean, but yeah, like there's always been that, like, whenever, like, it's, you want to know where it started, ladies and gentlemen? The name Craig for us started when we were watching Heroes on TV. Now, here's the thing. Steven's house was loud because I had a lot of siblings and my dad didn't care that we were watching a show that we loved.
What happens.
So we would have the TV blasting, but we'd have to have closed captionings on. But Craig, the closed caption guy that's typing this for us as we're reading it, was typoing left and right. So that's where our Craig...
Yeah. So basically Craig just became the stand-in for anyone who just was incompetent and couldn't do their job or didn't know what they were doing. Craig was the name we gave to the invisible person we hated and shook our fist at. And now you befriended him and betrayed me. I get it. It's cool.
He's like the nicest guy ever too, and he's super awesome. And he's
after failing so much, you have to have a hero's journey. You have to have an arc. He came around.
This whole time. So now we just got to figure out a different name, I guess. But oh man, for the longest time it was Craig. That was the name. So yeah, I would think Craig and OD. Those are my ostriches. Anthony, do you have any names for your ostriches?
I think I said I would just name them all Gregory. But
Gregory.
I'm not sure. I've put zero thought into naming my ostriches. I'm kind of sure that I'll end up getting eaten by the ostriches, and you'll take over the colony, and that'll be the end of me. I think that's actually just how the credits are gonna roll on my life.
Like I said, I think I will originally plan to profit and be like this farmer that butchers and like makes a ton of money off ostriches, but I know who I am as a person, and I'm gonna go from like this huge plot to just owning like 100 ostriches that I've had since the first generation. So, but anyways.
Oh, we got a few other questions, but I have a question. I know you don't have a lot of time, so I have a question.
We can go no longer, but go ahead.
I have a question for you though.
Uh-oh.
Steven, I have a confession to make. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and this is true, I promise you. And you've known me for a long, long time. And you can at least attest that as with all of the time I've spent with you, all of the time, I've never farted in front of anyone, Steven.
Not even me. And actually, I even shared a complaint with you recently about nipple showing and like how I've only seen your chest once, and I've been your best friend for more than I haven't been your best friend. So like, yeah, people, he's what happened? What is it?
What is it? Well, what is it? That made me laugh so much. Even, but I realized I was like, okay, is it okay? Not even just normal people, not even just casual people or like friends, like you know, but like relationships. I've been in long, like ridiculous. I'm an older person relationships now. I've been in 2 relationships that lasted upwards of 6 years, you know, and neither of which consisted of me farting in front of a person at any point. That's crazy, Steven. And I realized this.
That's some power right there.
Yeah, well, I realized this, and I was just like, is that why? Is that why the relationships are failing? Do I need to open up with a fart like right away? Is this like, is this okay? Is it?
Oh man.
Is there a sense of closure or like comfort that comes like maybe everyone's on the edge until maybe the relationships just failed because they wanted to fart so bad, but they wanted me to break the wind of the ice, like they wanted me to like they didn't want to do it first. Yeah, they didn't want me. They wanted me to do it first, but I failed them, Steven. So I put it on me. So I'm gonna ask you, and you don't have to answer, but when's the first time you farted in front of Tina? Do you remember?
I have a better story that doesn't involve me doing it.
Okay, tell me.
Or her doing it. So, so like, just like it even ties into the first thing we were talking about. So you know how we like project these horrible characters that we aren't. I jokingly said to Tina very early in our relationship, and I looked her dead in her eye, and I was like, "If you ever fart in front of me, it's over." I was absolutely kidding. Like, I was not even a little bit serious when I said that to her. It was like such a crazy demand that like the fact that even anyways, so it like wasn't like
I remember this. So go. It's just
I
laugh because I remember
her uniform from work. She was sitting on the couch and she accidentally farted, like the quietest little thing, and she looks over at me and starts crying because she thought I was going to break up with her. We were like together for like 8 months at this point. Like I was like, what's wrong? Like I got so scared, and she's like, she like explained, and I was like, no, that was a joke. I believe the kids pronounce it yoking, but no, like seriously, it was so funny. Like it was horrible for her, and now I feel bad because she basically held that in for 8 months.
She tried her best. She gave it her all.
I did my best, but it was. But that for me, I don't remember. I actually don't remember.
Like it wasn't even a big deal to me.
She had such a horrible time that like.
For me, not even. I don't even know who you are, or what is it? What did they say? I don't even know your name.
Yeah, basically.
I don't even know your name, Tina.
Dude, an even better line than that is, and everyone knocks Street Fighter, Jean-Claude, but dude, Raul Julia, that's right.
Yes.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life, but for me, it was a Tuesday. That is such an awesome line, man.
That is an awesome line.
That is such a badass line. Like that is so cool. I mean, he was just an amazing actor. And like, did you know he actually did that movie for his kids because his
Oh,
kids
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Really?
like he wouldn't have done a movie like Street Fighter,
Yeah.
but his kids loved the game so much that he did the movie for them. So
Yeah,
like
he was
almost like a
amazing. Actually, I just read that they're going to be making a new Adams Family. That's interesting.
is Tim Burton actually tied to that, or is that just all like
I,
internet
I think
hearsay?
I think he is. He's tied to it.
Okay.
It's supposed to be set today. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna reserve any judgment, but
Mhm.
I actually okay. I'll tell you what about the Adams Family. I watched the cartoon with my son in the theater. It was one of the last things we watched before all of this. It was okay. The first time I saw it, I was just like, all right, whatever. Afterward, though, I think I have Stockholm syndrome because I like it so much now. Like Atlas likes it a lot and he wants to watch it all the time, and it just totally grew on me. I just like now I have the little, and it might just be I have the moments that I enjoy, so I just kind of like look up from my phone when they're happening, and I'm like, okay, I like that part, like
Like little boring moments that don't matter or whatever.
yeah, but I do I think like it did grow on me though. I think the performances are really good. I think I might have been a little jaded because I love the live action movies so much. Which by
Mm,
the way, like I rewatched them.
they're so good, dude.
Yeah, I honestly I think Adam's Family Values is better than the first one.
I always because Fester is basically the problematic situation in both movies, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, right? Like the
for the
first
most
movie is the first movie when he's marrying the woman.
the first movie is the one where he has amnesia. He doesn't know he's Fester,
Oh, so
and it's his
then
mom.
you're right.
Yeah,
You're right. Values is so much better. That's when he's
yeah,
trying to marry that woman, and
yes,
she's like a murderer and all
yes.
that.
That one's
She's
so
Black
much more
Widow.
fun.
Yeah,
It's so much more
you're
fun.
right. It really is. That is a great movie.
I think the reason is Fester doesn't get to be Fester until like the midpoint, like even past the midpoint of the movie. He's still this guy who's like not really Fester. He's getting everything wrong. So like none of the characters can be themselves around him because the whole joke, not even joke, like the whole plot is that he's not fitting in with the Adams, which means they're not going about their hijinks. The whole thing that makes the Adams Family work in a fun way is that they as a whole don't fit with the world, So, like, when we're watching just Fester try to fumble through and, like, guess what an Adams would say or do, it's just not fun. It just wasn't. It wasn't cool. Whereas, like, in the second one, watching Fester survive all these murder attempts was really
Oh,
funny.
so great.
It's
Yeah.
really funny. Watching like Wednesday and Pugsley like in camp and stuff, like dealing with all of those children, it was hilarious. It was all so good. Even the baby stuff, like I like now as an adult looking back on it, I was like, oh no, they added a baby. Like I was like, this is probably gonna be stupid. I don't remember this one as much. Let me see. And I watched it, and then all the memories started flooding back. And I was like, I actually really like this movie. It was a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so it was a lot of fun. Like Atlas thought it was the funniest thing he's ever seen. So
I mean, Christopher Lloyd's amazing in that as Fester too, right?
yeah, Christopher Lloyd really is amazing. Like
He's
he
such,
is. I mean,
he's such a good Fester too. I mean, like
yeah,
you think about like the characters he's played though, and he's just yeah, man, it's iconic. Like
yeah. I feel like
that's why we love him.
yeah, for sure. I mean, well, he could have given us Doc Brown and just disappeared, But he's like, "Here's Fester, you're welcome," But
So good.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't. Yeah, it's crazy when actors are so iconic or just have like a character that's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna picture them as that character for the rest of their lives. Sorry about your luck,
Mhm.
Like I guess I don't know.
Will Ferrell's basically done that with like his character, like who he is like. I
But
mean, like but
right,
he's definitely changes his role. But like you expect a certain like level of
well,
delivery from him, and he gives it.
he does what like a lot of comedic actors do is like they find their clown, like
Yeah,
he found his Ernest, like he
yeah.
knows, like they just don't call it Ernest Goes to Camp, they call it Talladega Nights because it's
Mhm.
just Ernest Goes to NASCAR, like that's what it is, but it's Will Ferrell's Ernest. So that's what a lot of comedians do, really. I mean, like there are some that break the mold and stuff, but comedy is so weird and subjective that like I think once people find a tone or like find something that works for us, it's just like they just drive it home forever, and beat that horse as long as they can
Yeah, if
because
there's still blood coming out, right? You might as well. So.
yeah, you recognize how like in comedy movies, like the manner of jokes and like the tone of jokes and the maturity levels change and evolve over time. Where it's like think about like when Superbad came out, I would never have imagined a movie with those sort of jokes. Like it was really
Yeah,
weird.
man. It really was like like such an awesome movie at that point, at least in that point in our lives. I
Yeah,
actually
well,
rewatched it.
okay,
It's still
like
pretty funny.
as much as I'm okay with like the whole history and like evolution of comedy in general, but can you imagine showing like Mel Brooks like when he was making Young Frankenstein, right? Like everyone loves that movie; it's a classic, genius movie. But can you imagine showing Mel Brooks Super Bad or like 40-Year-Old Virgin and being like, "Here you go, Mel Brooks, just like digest this a little bit, see what you think." Like he would be like, "That's a weird, different kind of comedy. I don't know what you're doing," Like, and he's a
Yeah.
genius. You know?
He's one of the few like comedic like directors that can make slapstick funny. Like
Yeah.
you think of his like his
Yep.
comedy is so good and so like genuine and sweet, and it's just I still love Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
Oh,
still
like
love
even Dracula Dead and Loving It.
even Drag dude
So
like
funny. That
that's
whole
like one of Steve's
mesmerizing
favorites.
scene with the like sit there, like, yeah, stand up. No, you, no, sit down. Like that.
And Leslie Nielsen's actually really good for that delivery.
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I would actually say if the slapstick like comedy like genre had an actor that was the best at it, it's definitely him. Like
Oh, 100%.
the Naked Gun movies and all those are all great for what they are. You know.
I think comedy has become kind of more personal, where it's gone from like trying to tell formal, like not formal as in like casual versus formal, but like formal punchline style jokes versus like character driven way of saying things funny, which is really interesting. Because when we find someone like in 40-Year-Old Virgin, like a lot of the things they say aren't jokes. I mean, some of them are, but like bags of sand, like that's not really a joke. It's just a weird observation and a failed observation. And so it's a character. It's so weird,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like thinking about that awkward evolution of jokes is so strange. Like stand-up comedy has gone through the same thing where there's the like standard like set up punchline comedians like who have some of them have like risen to the top of the comedy scene forever, and then there are also kind of like the more alt comics who are more personal and more like just personality story oriented. So it's really interesting. Like someone today on Twitter pointed out that they don't like John Mulaney. Have you ever seen John Mulaney stand up?
I think he's funny.
I think
he's very like what you're saying. Like he's a very like just he's a joke comedian. He tells a joke. It's very straightforward, but he's got the observation humor too. Like he's got like a Seinfeld thing kind of going.
Absolutely, like, I kind of, that's exactly what I would have said. Like I think he's kind of like our generation Seinfeld as far as his stand-up comedy is concerned. I enjoy it. I like it. I don't think I haven't returned to his stand-up lately, but like I would love it. Like I enjoy it a lot. So I don't understand, so when someone says something like that, my first thought is always like, oh, it's not for you. It's subjective. That's fine. That's weird. I get it, but I also think you're wrong. No, but
last year, dude, like right before COVID, basically last summer, it was just one of those weird situations where like, we wanted to go to a comedy show and Tina's mom was like all about it. And then she ended up looking like at other comedy shows that were coming. So like last summer I saw Brian Regan, Dane Cook, and Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh wow! Yeah, I know.
And honestly, bro, like I say bro too, so you already know who I'm gonna be like. But like, I know he got a lot of grief, especially towards the end. But like, Dane Cook was like still really funny. Like he was surprisingly still amazing as far as he's supposedly fallen from grace. I would say the order in which the best was definitely Dane, and then Jerry was a very close second, and then Brian Regan. Brian Regan's is not like always my cup of tea. Yeah. Like I like him, but he's like overly goofy, and I'm not like so into the overly goof. But
I think he's a very good example of like found his clown. Like he does the like that thing.
Yeah. And like, the crossed eyes.
Crossed eyes, yeah. He does that stuff where it's like it's his get her done to an extent. Like that, everyone finds their like here's your card or what whatever their thing is there, But I like the Dane Cook thing. I think that people I think the frustration with Dane Cook was basically that he became not overnight, because no one's really an overnight sensation, but he seemed to have this huge, massive explosion of popularity. And I think that it was weird because it seemed like, it seems like when you look at the whole pantheon of like potential comedians who could have that same level of success, it's like, was he most deserving maybe not, but and I think that's what happens. I think a lot of people are like, well, this is my favorite comedian and listen to these jokes and they're better than his jokes, and didn't he steal that joke, and it becomes this whole weird internet meme just to hate
Yeah.
on someone. And I think it's also like prop comedy in general is kind of hated on and seen as like a novelty. Not that he uses props, but like he does like the novelty things of like pouring water over his head and like
Yeah.
he has that like elevated character that some people are turned off by, and I think that they look at it as like like shtick in a way that they don't like, because especially these days comedy has become more about like personality and like your disposition, like you are like go up on stage and be yourself and don't do the shticky thing that like don't do the Brian Regan faces. But the
Yeah.
thing is, like, it works, and it works for some people, and it's just in the same way that the person online said they don't like John Mulaney. I do like John Mulaney. It's always going to be that way, so I don't really understand the negative criticism in general.
What's the point? Yeah, like if you don't like something, just move along. It's just not for you. Obviously, there's people that do enjoy it, and they're allowed to enjoy that, and you're allowed to not enjoy that.
Yeah,
if you're looking for your own audience, but like, why are you looking? That's the thing that's always like bothering me, because like I feel like people are negative so they can find other people that think like them. But why do you want to surround yourself with people that you disagree? Like the things that you dislike.
You bond over your mutual hatred for something.
Yeah, like you're basically just a group of supervillains at that point.
Yeah,
like you're not even.
We must kill joy.
Yeah, you're not even friends. Like you just hate on stuff. Like,
have we made everyone miserable yet? No. Continue on. Get online. Get on Twitter, Facebook.
I can't stand. Like, yeah, me either.
Yeah. So
create your weird group.
It is interesting, and I think like to that effect, like that's why I end up in the social media bubble that I create for myself, because when I do see the post, okay, I more often will see on Facebook a post that will say, "Ugh, I can't believe these people posting about blah blah blah," more than I'll ever see the people posting about blah blah blah. So much so that I never see the blah blah blahs. So the only time I hear about blah blah blahs are from these people who keep mentioning the blah blah blahs. So I'm
blah blah blahs haven't existed since 1936. Okay,
yeah, they're extinct in my mind. I'm pretty sure they're gone. I have no interest in their work whatsoever. So I muted them. But then what ends up happening is the people who make it their identity to hate on the blah blah blahs become just as obnoxious as the blah blah blahs. So I delete them, or not delete them. Usually I just mute them. But I just don't have any time for that. Like the person who poked into my bubble just to be like, hey, I'm gonna accuse you of this random thing. Like, well, why are you doing this with your life? I don't understand it. Maybe it's because I'm a single dad and I'm trying to do this podcast and a book and like I work and like do all this stuff that like for me, I think of my time as actually being valuable, and like the opportunity cost of like losing actual like decent joy or connection in a positive way is not worth it.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I've never understood that. In fact, I'll even take this, like, I'll even go devil's advocate. Not even if I don't like the subject, if I see someone just like blatantly like disliking it, I'm like, man, like, just why? Like, just like, you don't have to. Like, yeah. But see, then I delete it. I don't send it because I don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay,
it's true. And I think and like I don't know, maybe there's a little bit more behind that. Maybe I'm worried that once like we put stuff out into the world, those people are going to be the loudest voices about our stuff. Like I'm still waiting. It's going to happen. Someone's going to comment or, write on our YouTube, like, and say stupid, bad things about us. It's going to happen at some point in our lives, because we're going to continue.
High school's coming back, man.
Yeah.
Hey, fatty.
It's just the word. I didn't ask you. Did you deal with any bullying, or did anyone say anything? You've always been so big in general. So
like what's unfortunate about me is that I'm overweight, but I'm also just huge. Like I don't think people understand. Like when I put my hand next to someone's head, like it's like Andre the Giant. Like it's crazy. Like my head is actually bigger than like we were like measuring like my family's heads, and like everyone's like a 22.5 inch head. My head circumference is 25 inches, like 2.5 inches bigger than anyone else in my family. It's crazy, but like not like named bullies. Like I had my issues, but I've always had, like I had my high school friends, but like my neighborhood friends, they were some of the harsh, like Bill and like Axel, like we like honed our insults down. So like anytime someone would be insulting towards me, I would be quick-witted enough to make them feel dumb. So like I never really had like a vendetta bully. Like I don't know, it was just, even though it was very easy because I was overweight. I mean that's like the easiest thing to make fun of someone for, especially in like high school. But yeah, I can't really remember any bullies, which makes me feel like I was probably a bully. That's what's making me think
like if you could, yeah. If you can't pick out the bully in the room, you're probably the bully.
Was I the bully? And now there are some things I look.
There's a reason I stabbed Mike with a pencil that one time, and it's probably because you guys were bullying me.
Yeah, we were bullying you. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty like, and I don't like to think of myself. I don't think anyone thinks of themselves as the villain in their story. Where I mean, I'm the hero in mine, but like,
yeah, Thanos thought he was the hero too. So,
I mean, yeah.
What do you plan on working on next week? I know we talked about it a little bit, but let's.
Page 4 is gonna get done this week. I'm gonna get
pencils.
these pages.
Pencils totally done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My plan, this is one of the weeks where Atlas goes with his mom for 2 days, so I'm going to finish the pages of this book, like the main panel pages, send it off to you, last chapter done, is my plan. I only have one more chapter to do, that's it, really. So
and then it's narration time.
And then it's narration time. And then I do want to tighten up some of the dialogue, like I was telling you before. I know I have to tighten some of it up. I want to just go over it and actually give it a nice second draft. But all of the places where people are speaking are still going to be the same, so it won't matter, as far as your job is concerned. So that's my plan. I'm gonna finish. So you're gonna finish page 4. I'm gonna finish, and we're gonna meet back here. Thank you all for listening and subscribing. The button should pop up at some point, so please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Something like 30% of our listeners haven't subscribed yet, but we thank you for listening at all. And so
we still thank you.
Yeah. So we really appreciate all of you. If you have any questions for us, feel free to contact us on Twitter. We're both on there. You can, I think, what's yours? It's at Ostrich Colony Co.
Yeah, it's no longer Yo-Yo Gab or whatever that was. So I didn't make that name. I'm telling you, I did not type that name. There's no way I typed it. That was the auto-generated name Twitter must have given me. I swear to you.
So find Steven at Yo-Yo Gabba. so Steven's on Twitter at Ostrich Colony Co. I'm on Twitter at Anthony LaFusi. You can find that in the description somewhere, maybe. I'll try to link it as best we can. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. We appreciate you. Tell your grandparents. We need them. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. See you next week.